Good morning, guys. Welcome to Terrible Lighting. Hopefully everyone's good. I had something I want to talk about this morning, and I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation to have, and I want to remind you guys before I get into this idea stemmed from my true crime ethics video. Just keep in mind, I think all of us really like true crime. Like, if you're clicking on a true crime topic video, then you probably like true crime. It's not that you hate it, or else you wouldn't be watching that video, I would hope. I love true crime. I think that it can do really powerful things if it's handled correctly. And at the same time, I can also say that it should be handled with white gloves. And that's kind of where the last video came from, just sharing some of my ideas surrounding it. But what I want to talk about in this video, and a few of you guys echoed this concern in that last video. A couple months ago, I talked about Stephanie Harlowe and Derrick Levasseur's podcast, Crime Weekly, and said that I had, just discovered it. I had been watching their coverage of the Casey Anthony case, and I should say Kaylee Anthony, because she was the victim in that case. But I was watching their series on that. I think they had like 7 parts to that. It was really long, and I had mentioned it in a vlog. And since then, I've been watching more of their current stuff. When it comes to Stephanie and Derrick, I think that they have a good chemistry, because both of them can speak their points. They know how to get points across. Stephanie is great at researching stuff. Derrick has his experience as a police officer and now a current private investigator. I think that he brings a lot to the table, and it allows for Stephanie to do the storytelling and the discussion of the fact pattern. But one thing that I've noticed with them is that I think because Stephanie does the research on these cases, a lot of times what will happen is she wants to make sure that a certain point gets across, and sometimes it might even be an opinion. And he'll insert his opinion. There's been a handful of times where it's like he's told that his opinion is wrong, even if his opinion is based on his experience and what he has seen as a police officer and a private investigator. And it's a couple times it's gotten to the point where it's like, and I saw this with the Kaylee Anthony series, she got so offended by him sharing his opinion. It was like the podcast was not going to move on from that point until he recognized that opinion was incorrect. Now, I really want to know, have you guys seen this? Have you seen it in their podcast? Have you seen it in a different podcast or a different YouTube channel that has a host and a co-host? I guess with them, it would kind of just be like 2 co-hosts. It wouldn't even necessarily be a host and a co-host. I don't know. I think that they both contribute a lot to the podcast. But I really struggle with that, because as a listener, it can become frustrating to the point where you feel like things are not going to move on until one person agrees with the other. And I really like the small talk that they have in their podcast. I like that these side discussions can happen, because sometimes it's really fruitful and it's food for thought. And makes you maybe think of a different angle that you weren't thinking of when you hear these side conversations that they're having. I guess the point that I struggle with it is when I feel like the side conversations is just one person saying that their opinion is right and telling the other person that their opinion is wrong. A few of you guys that you had the same issue with the podcast, and you guys know I like to kind of see a pattern of something happening before I kind of make it a part of my thought process. If it's just a one-off thing or it happens a couple times, that's something completely different than if it's happening sporadically, then I see that it's a pattern. But something else that I heard from you guys is that Stephanie is actually very combative on Twitter. Now, I want to say allegedly because I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know. But it is interesting that that was said, because with different social media platforms, I've said before, if you really want to know who you're supporting, follow them on more than one platform. If you found them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram. If you found them on YouTube, follow them on TikTok or whatever. Because a lot of times you will actually see this where someone is very defensive and just acts like a different person on the different platform. And I don't know if it has to do with them having a smaller, like whatever platform they have the smaller audience on, they feel like they can snap at people and kind of not be the way they are on the bigger platform. Does it have to do with sponsors? Sponsors are on YouTube videos. They're not on Twitter or necessarily Instagram, depending on, what's going on. But I find it to be really interesting because I do think that when you're doing a podcast or, even if it's not a podcast, if it's just a YouTube video and you're collaborating with someone else, there's a reason why you're collaborating with them. It's because you both bring a different insight to the topic. Maybe you've both experienced it separately and that's the experience that you're bringing. So I think that having two people share their thoughts is productive, but if one person's opinion is going to be superior to the other person and you're expressing that superior nature on video or audio, it can become a little frustrating for the listener, because at that point in time, it's not just a side conversation to discuss the topic or the issue at hand. It becomes I'm right and this is why my opinion is right, and you need to see things from my point of view instead of the way that you're seeing them right now. I was scrolling through the comments on one of their podcasts, and it was an older one, but it was interesting to me because I actually did see that side of Stephanie that you guys were kind of talking about, where someone had an opinion that was not what her opinion was, and I did see her get kind of snappy with the commenter. And I realized that it can be frustrating to put all this work into a YouTube video and you feel like you've expressed your opinions and done a great job on the delivery. But at the same time, anyone who puts stuff out onto YouTube has to know that there are going to be people that don't like what you said. They're not going to like, I just talked about this in my starting a YouTube channel, tips that influencers want you to pay for video. There's just going to be people that disagree with you. You could literally say the sky is blue and the grass is green, and someone is going to say, no, the sky is actually, sky's actually white and the grass is not green. Like, I don't fucking know. If opinions that are left for you are so bothersome, maybe just stay out of your comment section. If seeing a comment that's not agreeing with you is going to make you leave something that is not very tasteful and snap off on someone for their opinion, why even reply? Now, I understand if someone's being outright cruel, but if someone's just saying that they have a different opinion and this is why, okay, you can have that opinion, that's fine. If you're going to respond to it with facts. It was funny because I got a comment on my Dad Challenge podcast video that just went up, and someone said, why don't you make other content, or why don't you make other videos? And I responded and said, I do make other videos. So do your research, before you leave a comment. That's not even an opinion that's different. That's just like telling me that you didn't take 5 seconds to look and see what other videos I've done. I talk about everyone. Anyone who I see as scammy, problematic, toxic, I will talk about everyone. And if anyone looks at my videos, they'll see that. Nobody is excluded on my channel. I mean, I'm sure that there are problematic people out there that I haven't talked about, but it's probably just because they haven't really come across my radar, or I don't know enough about the situation to deliver a video on it right now. Within commentary and tease stuff, a lot of times it's like just he said, she said type stuff. And those situations are kind of hard to work your way through because there's not really a fact pattern to follow. It's just she said this and then she said that, and they're like, where do you start the research for something like that? But I did want to talk about this today. I want to know if you guys have watched Crime Weekly, or you watch a lot of Stephanie Harlowe and you follow her on other platforms. Have you seen this, snappy kind of side of her? It just, I don't like the way that she speaks to Derrick sometimes. I really like Derrick. I think that he, for someone who hasn't been on YouTube, I think that he does a really good job of explaining himself and getting his points across without stammering and getting off topic. And I think he's really insightful. So, I don't know. I think he's an awesome co-host, and I know that I'm not alone on this because I know for a fact that some of you guys echoed the same issue. But I am really curious. The whole thing is you have a co-host for a reason. You're in this together. It's to, collaborate and share opinions, and it shouldn't be, well, I'm right and you're wrong, and this is why my opinion is superior to yours. And maybe I have the wrong idea for the way that a host and a co-host should interact, but again, that's just kind of my opinion. So either way, I wanted to talk about this. So I hope that you guys are good. Leave all your thoughts, leave all your thoughts down below. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.